so they had the hard copy in the hospital.
Oh, so we can access it if we want to.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
I don't agree with what this guy's. This guy's a whole different issue because it was a personnel matter on a totally separate subject, and then he decided to complain about this. I think to change direction. I mean, that's.
So do you think that the investigation for Oscar Grant should still be open on what happened and those events, the bandage, the lethal air that was
not regarding medical treatment? I felt there. I analyzed it because my own butt was on the line, and before I said anything to the press, we went back and went through all the records and reviewed all the medical stuff and talked to the guy that he alleged said, "Oh, good luck, you know, you're a whistleblower," and all that. We checked into all that, and then my official position was we had no wrongdoing on the platform.
So you don't think that there is anything on the fire department's part of Oakland could have been done to give Oscar the proper treatment
we treated
keep him alive?
I got to tell you, we go to 60,000 medical calls a year. We take them all seriously. I'm not saying mistakes don't occasionally happen where maybe we should have given him more oxygen or done whatever, but I'll tell you right now, in the case of Oscar Grant, we provided, for the 6 minutes we had the patient, we provided the best quality of care and transported him out to an ambulance, and they took him straight to a hospital.
So then how come he's not still alive? If that bandage wasn't covered up, who made that mistake?
There was no mistake made with the bandage.
I thought there was an exit wound and he bled to death.
Go to the court records on the pathologist. The doctors presented the evidence. John Burrs, the attorney representing Oscar Grant, was in the courtroom. There was at no point any allegation of mishandling of it medically. The gentleman...
I met you, I think I met you yesterday.
I'm sorry, can I finish? I'll finish with him and then I'll talk to you. So, I mean, I'm in a hard place that, first of all, like I said, for 6 minutes, we did a head to toe on him. We took off his shirt, we looked at his injuries, we bandaged the one side. The other side where he was laying down and the bullet it didn't actually leave the body, so it wasn't an exit wound, but there was a wound on the other side, so they bandaged it. And they gave it to the ambulance, and they carted him, they took him to the hospital.
So all that's in the original report that was made when Oscar was first shot and taken, so the people that were working on site that night, that's what they're in their report?
That night. First of all, the guy there, Sean Gillis, he was the guy who at the time looked at how it was treated. And the person he was working with, there was two ways you could bandage the guy. And what you're talking about is it's called an occlusive bandage. And it's a bandage that's supposed to, when the lung exhales, it lets air out, and then when you inhale, it seals back up.
Oh, okay.
And so they put that bandage on.
Okay.
And on the other side, they put one of those bandages too, which, depending on one protocol, says that should have been a regular bandage. But they went with they were bandaging the guy up and they gave him to the ambulance, and the ambulance stripped bandages off and replaced them with other bandages. So,
okay, so it's on the ambulance.
But it's not on them either.
Responsibility.
That isn't any of the reason 2 hours later he died. He died of massive internal trauma. It had nothing to do with what type of bandage got put on the... If you had a cut and someone stabbed you right through your arm and we patched both sides, but it cut an artery and you bled out, or, you know, it's other issues that led to his death. And
yeah, but you used the word trauma. See, I'm led to believe that he bled to death because the mass amount of blood he lost. So I guess it is internal trauma, but at the same time, it's like a mistake of the bandage errors if there was the blood loss.
No, because the bandage went right on it. So the only issue was the type of bandage that allows air to get in when he exhales. They put it on both sides initially, is my understanding from the report, and that there's another protocol said they didn't need to do that on the other side. They only really needed to do that on the one side. But he did it just because it wasn't a true exit wound. The bullet hadn't exited the body. There was just obviously right where he'd been laying on the... I mean, none of this has to do with Oscar Grant. Unfortunately, he got murdered. I mean, I'm upset that Oscar Grant's family got dragged through this. I have no problem with the truth coming out. I have no problem with Oscar Grant's family getting just service for what's happened here. I have a problem with some guy who, years later, when he's in a different situation where he's being disciplined for something else suddenly goes, oh, wait a minute, I'm a whistleblower.
Oh, what is he being disciplined
For
for?
performance issues on not doing his job right. And I can't go into details because it's a personnel issue, but that's when suddenly he said, oh, wait a minute, you're trying to shut me up because I'm a whistleblower. He didn't blow the whistle back then. He's trying to get out of something now. So I have a problem with that. And that's it, plain and simple. I have a little problem with him dragging Oscar Grant through the mud, or the family and the fire department.
Let me ask you this. If there was a little error that was made either on your people, the OFD, or the paramedics at Oakland, then let's say that there was, would you be somebody that could take up the case, that would stand up for that case?
First of all, mistakes happen. Let me tell you right now.
Yeah, of course mistakes happen.
And we investigated. And at the time we investigated, it was determined that the bandage he put on there did the job. It wasn't the bandage it wasn't lack of oxygen, which is why Oscar Grant died. The bandage in question they put the same allowing oxygen or air bandage on both sides, is my understanding of the report. And his allegation is they used the wrong bandages. They put one on one side where it wasn't even required. They did it because there was some blood. He wasn't bleeding out of it. It was because the bullet probably hit the pavement that he was laying on.
Yeah, that's what I heard, is that a ricochet.
So they put a bandage there. They put a bandage there that was not leaking blood because no air was transferring out that side. So they just stuck a bandage on that they had right there. He stuck it on. So his question was, why did they put that type of bandage on there? And I'm here to say it didn't matter. What I was told from the person who investigated, it didn't matter what bandage they put on that side because it wasn't a sucking wound.
Okay.
It just was a bandage he stuck on there to keep blood. The guy was like, you put the $3 bandage on instead of the $1 bandage. I mean, it's a fancier bandage that allows the air exchange, but there was no air exchange on that side because the lung was on the other side. So that's why it got investigated.
I'd like to personally look deeper in depth of the evaluations and paperwork, and also statements that were prior to it. I don't know. We just got here.
His attorney. First of all, if you're filming, you're supposed to tell someone that you're filming. I just want to tell you that right now. You got that from me? That's not right that you're doing that. I mean, everything I'm saying is an act. I'll stand by what I said, but to not tell someone you're filming, that's a bullshit.
Look,
no.
You caught me at something. It's sneaky, serious? But at the same time, all the stuff that's going on, all the sneaky stuff that's going on, you better damn straight hope that people are doing that.
You run with that how you want. I'll stand by my statements, but just the act of filming is a bullshit move. I'm just telling you. And you're filming me now telling you that's a bullshit move.
Well, all right.
No, you should have told me up front. You mind me taping or whatever? That's your prerogative. You can do that.
We'll have to argue. He wishes.
Okay. Well,
Anyway, so once again, it got investigated. I'll say it for the record. It got investigated. It got looked at the time. It got looked at after the fact. And we'll get it looked at when we get asked to do it by anyone else.
All right, well,
We're not hiding the ball on anything.
I just want to tell you something so you understand where I'm coming from. Oscar is my friend. I have history with Oscar. I know how he was. I know that he was actually a humble guy, but he had a lot to say. So that's why he was killed. He had a lot to say. You know what I'm saying? And I see what you're saying, where you're coming from. But in this situation is very delicate to me because I've been handling this shit since the beginning. And how I see it, working through the backbone, is that there's a lot of stuff that's being thrown away. You see?
You don't have to believe me, and you can get. He's got a lawyer, Sean Gillis, and who's asking for the public records and is investigating. So right now, you've got a lawyer who's investigating it, and you also have had inquiries from the press, and we've had to show them what we have. I mean, we continue to give the press what they ask for. We continue to give the attorney what he asked for. And I don't know, that is how the system works. And like I said before, we had him for, I forget if it was 5 or 6 minutes. We had him, I believe, 5 or 6 minutes as a patient. And then we transported him to the ambulance. And I know he died hours later. And I'm sure he lost blood on the platform. I guarantee he lost blood on the platform. And with my own personal feelings on what was was done by the police that night, you know, they're my own personal feelings. I'm not happy with how things went down that night, but nobody really is. I doubt that anybody is.
I don't think anybody,
And
but I think there's more to it.
So well, the more to it part, you guys can run with that and look into it. But I'll tell you,